This track here at Suzuka is one of my favorite in the entire world, and definitely one of the favorites for me to watch on the F1 calendar itself. We're going to be using the F1 25 game because there's currently no other game that's out there that can really simulate what these cars are doing, like I've said in past episodes as well. So I'm going to take you through a section of this track that I absolutely love and what it might look like now. Plus, I'll take you also through some portions of where you may see the cars harvest energy, where you might see some super clipping, and what is actually happening in those situations and scenarios, because there is a lot with these cars. So coming up to the final corner, last chicane on the track, you don't want to touch these curbs, especially not in the game, this game especially, because of where the ride height is sat with these cars. You get too much lift on these cars and they tend to really throw you for a loop. A lot of oversteer and sometimes understeer as well. So we're heading towards the first corner. You'll see these cars 7th, 8th gear, maybe see them super clip, you might not. It's hard to say, but you want to enter this flat out turn 1. This is where you're going to start your braking, downshift. Now, here's where things start to change. This is one of my favorite sections of the track. The S section of this circuit is very complex. It's quite complicated. In the past, you had to be very brave to tackle it in a quali lap, really push the envelope, really push the level of grip that these cars have. Test yourself as a driver as well. Now it's going to be a little bit different. I think we'll probably see a lot of these cars harvesting energy. It'll still be fast. It just may not be as fast as what we're used to. Normally, coming out of this second turn here, I like to be in 5th gear. But now I can probably see them using 4th gear on exit because it'll get the RPMs up into a higher range. It'll allow for a little more recharge. Same with the first section of the S's. Usually it's almost flat out. I usually like to do a tiny bit of a lift here, 5th gear. You'll probably see someone downshift heading into the second part of the S section. The S section here. Normally I like to be flat out to here, and then I do a little lift, but this is probably going to be in and around 4th gear as well. As you come up to this left-hander here, normally this is flat out. You may see them lift a little bit here. So it is going to be tricky and complex in its own way. It will be a different way of these drivers tackling and navigating that section of track. But as we move through our lap, this also, the Dagnas are really cool to fly through. As you get through the exit of this turn here, normally I like to be in about 4th gear. I think for these drivers, these cars, you may see them go down to 3rd. One of the things though to keep your eye out on, even though these cars do have more rake in them than the previous generation of Formula One cars, and by rake I mean the rear end up off the ground a bit, where you have the front end a little lower to the cement or the asphalt. And then as they go through the air, that rear end starts to squat or come down towards the asphalt. This is called rake. And with these cars, this regulation, they have introduced rake back into the car, but what you may see on an exit like this are drivers maybe utilizing a lot of this red and white curbing. Now, this red and white curbing is actually quite high. In the past, with the older regulation and these particular cars, sometimes they get high-sided, so they'll come up onto this curb too much. They'll be all the way over on this green asphalt. And you can see how the car is, as I accelerate, excuse me, I can't really use the front wheels. Like I can't turn or anything. So the car's getting what I like to call is high-sided. So it is being picked up off the ground. Now the rear wheels, since there's weight in the back, the rear wheels are able to get some traction, but you can't steer or control. So you may see some cars literally just high-sided until they get to something like here, and you may see them dip a wheel into the gravel like that right there and go 4 wheels off. You may also see some crashes there too. That's also happened in the past. So just something to keep an eye out for as well. As we come up to the hairpin here at this track, this is going to be a heavy braking area for these cars as well, like they were in the past. It'll be interesting to see if we see someone use first gear through here. I think we might, just to try and save up as much energy as they can. I think we'll see first gear in there for sure. And as we come up to later in the lap here, this is again another fun parts of the track. Little brake, downshift. You want to get some weight on the front of the car so you can turn in here and be very fully committed on the power as you come out and on this long back straightaway. Now we're heading up towards 130R. You may have heard Fernando Alonso talk about how this probably isn't going to be flat like it normally is, and he's probably right. Like the bravery of 130R here may not be what it used to be. You'll probably see drivers downshift, do a lift and coast, and then especially for this heavy braking section here as we head up to the final corner, really hard on the brakes. You'll probably see drivers do a lift and coast there, come all the way down to probably second gear. Maybe you might see first to try and harvest as much energy. So those are just a few things to watch out for this weekend at the Japanese Grand Prix when it comes to that harvesting and deployment, especially during qualifying.